Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you with another video. All right, headed to my Thanksgiving Day dinner. Gonna meet my boy Tendai at Wilshire in Vermont, although he told me Hollywood and Highland till right now. So he was asking my ETA. I was like, my ETA for Hollywood and Highland is about an hour. My ETA for Wilshire in Vermont is about an hour and 15 minutes. So it makes a big difference when you switch up the location. But I'll be going to Wilshire, Vermont. Had a nice little situation right now. I did a little art, listened to a playlist, and had a good time doing so. I didn't really love the art that I made, to be honest with you. I really didn't. The playlist itself is a lot better than the art this time. I felt good doing the art. It just, when I was done, I didn't like what I saw. And so that's just kind of how that went today. But it was a good session, just the same. And woke up feeling pretty solid. Ready for whatever. I haven't even checked fantasy football and none of that. I know there's 4 football games. I'm just not really interested in that Thanksgiving football today. I more so just wanted to get straight into my art game. After eating breakfast, I knew I had some time because, of course, when people are cooking, it's gonna, nobody's eating in the morning. So I knew I would have at least a couple hours to do my art thing. And it worked out. By the time the playlist ended, my boy T had texted me like 15 minutes before the end of the playlist and told me that everything was going to be starting up around 3 something. I'm like, well, shoot, it's like 15 minutes to 3 right now, but nobody trying to get there on time. You know how that goes. So yeah, said a lot of prayers leading up to this day, or rather leading up to this walk, because I love being around my friends and all of that. But the problem that I have with Thanksgiving is I can't eat most of this food. As you guys know, I have some very severe, what do you call it? Allergies and stuff like that. The last time I was there, I had some problems with some of the food I was eating. So it's like I got to be very, very particular about what I eat and what I don't. And I don't want to offend nobody. Oh, would you try the mac and cheese? Can't. oh, try this garlic something. Nope. And I don't want people to think that I'm trying to be funny, because I ate all that stuff last year. But over the last year, I've learned that I can't cheat meals. That I learned that this summer eating with my uncle. Just eating cheat meals, say I'll live with the consequences. The consequences are terrible, man. Multiple different problems attacking at the same time. And so for me, it's like, I want to try everything. I still have a taste for all the food that I used to love. But the older I get, the more allergic I am to different things. And at this point, I can barely eat literally anything. So when I get there, I will try to eat everything that I can eat. But most of that stuff, I can't eat. Most of it, I'm just not going to be able to try. And I need people to understand that and not feel bad because they cooked and I ain't trying stuff. But I've learned I can't do that. If I'm allergic to something, it's allergic for a reason. And I may not have always been allergic to stuff. The person they knew wasn't allergic to everything, but the person I've become over the last 3 years is allergic to literally most foods. And whatever you season, whatever you put in there, any lactose, it's severe. It's not even minor. It's a very severe allergy issue that I have, man. And sometimes I have issues even when I don't eat things that I'm allergic to. That's how severe my problem is. So the last couple of days, I think I probably got a hold of another batch of meat. I don't know what they put in the meat. I know they're not just killing the cow and handing it to us. Sometimes, depending on the meat, I have issues with the meat. Beef or whatever. So, yeah, this last batch of beef I had gave me a lot of problems. So I ain't been 100% over the last 3 days based on that. Been having some issues that I had thought I had gotten rid of. So it's just one of those things where it's like, man, and now that we come around Thanksgiving, it's time to eat all types of stuff. And I'm showing up to be honest with you, just to see people and be with friends, you know what I mean, and enjoy the festivities. But as much as I love the meals, and I love the meals, we're in a space where, I simply know better. I simply know better. My body is not having it. It's my curse. I don't get to eat like most human beings, and that is just what it is. So that's what's going on, man. I get a little frustrated because I'm like, man, I want to go, but like, there's certain things that I'm trying to do for my health, and eating bad is going to throw that off in multiple fronts. So we'll see, man. I'm going anyway, though. Definitely gonna go. It's gonna be in Torrance at my boy Joe's house. We're not doing it at my boy Farad's house this time, which is cool. Get a switch up. It's the same people cooking though, so I know what time it is. They just decided to do it at a different person's place, and it's a bit further out, so no telling what time I'll be getting back. But that's not something I'm worried about right now at all. So yeah, man. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, man. I was saying another prayer in regards to Thanksgiving, like morally, how much of this should I actually be celebrating? I say that every year, but especially over the last 3 years, because I'm very aware of what's going on in the world, man. Colonial powers and stuff like that is what happened to the Native Americans is happening all over again right now in Gaza, and we're able to see exactly what it looks like. So at this point, it's like, how much of this do we actually celebrate if we really know what time it is? And I often say, we're celebrating not necessarily what they did, but togetherness. And then I saw a meme yesterday, not a meme, but a TikTok excerpt from a person who was Native American. And he was essentially saying, this is what y'all sound like when y'all do that. And he replaced the Thanksgiving celebration with celebrating 9/11. He was like, oh, and he gave us all of the different talking points that we give them in regards to why they should just allow us without any, protest to celebrate Thanksgiving. They were using the talking points and kind of centered around 9/11, like, oh, it happened a long time ago. Well, we're not really actually celebrating 9/11. We're celebrating togetherness. And it's like, yeah, we do sound kind of insensitive, I guess would be the word. And so it really put it in perspective for me. So like, yo, are we celebrating this for real? Because, this is us kind of dancing around the graves of people who were slaughtered and genocided and making every excuse to centralize our happiness with one another and kind of exclude the reality of the genocide that they suffered from. And when I say they, I mean us, because I have Native American in a lot of different corners of my family tree. My great-grandmother was half Native American. If I'm not mistaken, my dad's father was half Native American. So it's like, it's not that distant in my family tree. We ain't got to go too far back in my lineage to find Native American blood, man. So how much of this do I really want to celebrate as the older I get and the more real what happened becomes in my life as it pertains to seeing this in my own lifetime. So I don't know, I want to celebrate togetherness. I want to see my friends and family and whoever. I've enjoyed Thanksgiving all of my life, but the truth of the matter is that it was some type of warped culture that would allow for me to celebrate the genocide of my very own people and call it some type of togetherness and thankfulness. As a wickedness, if you really consider what it is. It's complete severe wickedness. And if you look down the road 400 years from now, then something will have happened to all of us. They killed all of us off with some terror attack, and then did some weird mental gymnastics to where our lineage is celebrating the day we were all killed instead of mourning in the day. We consider how the spirit of our ancestors and the Native American people feel. Because that's what happened. We were warped into turning a negative into a positive, like it's some type of glorified N-word, when in actuality, they killed people. They killed people, took their land. Betrayed people, took their land. There ain't nothing to be celebrating. And so that's what I want to say. Like, and there's a lot of people out there. America first. Look at all the good things we did on this mass genocide that we committed. Look at what the country is. America first. Look at, y'all a bunch of colonizers. Y'all ain't no better than the Israelis at all. At all. only is several generations down the road, and you've been able to do the mental gymnastics and propaganda thing to where people ain't even looking at it like that no more. In fact, I take a great deal of pride in that, but then we'll turn it to the people in Israel and say you're the worst people in the world for doing the exact same thing. I don't think that hypocrisy can stand anymore. I don't really know how people can look at themselves in the mirror and not at least wonder if something is wrong with that. And it's layers of things that we've learned that we need to unlearn, and still some of those layers have led to be peeled back. People are slowly coming around to believe that maybe they shouldn't necessarily align with one party or another, but there are a lot of layers of things that went into making all of this possible that needs to be unlearned in order for us to be on the right side of history, so to speak, or at least on the right side of morality as it pertains to pointing at other people and telling them they have no right to do it. If they don't got no right to do it, then we need to look at everything that comes together to make this okay and really study whether or not we're okay with it. And I don't think we've gotten there yet. Not as a nation. We ain't there yet. But me as a person, I'm coming around. So you tell me, was it okay to massacre a bunch of people, men, women, and children? Plant your flag on their land, say that you're a civilized Christian nation, and then proceed to build on that? Because if the answer is yes, then maybe you should be aligning with Israel and everything they're doing right now, because that's exactly what they're trying to do. Only it's not 400 years down the road, so you don't find yourself so distant away from it, but yet it's happening right now. So I think there are a lot of Americans who are fine with that, which is why there's so many Israel first American Judeo-Christians, because then people are pilgrims. They're unapologetic pilgrims. And if they had a chance to do it all over again, they'd do it all over again. That's what Judeo-Christianity really represents anyway, in my opinion. It's the unapologetic pilgrim. Descendant of the pilgrim who's very fine with killing all the Indians, whether they were good people or bad people, to take the land. That's it. That's exactly what Judeo-Christianity is. It ain't really ready to come out the closet, so to speak, but that's basically what it is. So we're proud of the genocide we committed in the Native Americans. We stand on our whiteness. We would enslave every N-word again if it meant building up this fine nation. And we believe that it's what should have been done in order for us to have our land. And we see our fellow Zionists doing that in the Middle East, and we understand how great it is. That's how they look at it. And so we are aligned in step with them to do the same thing in the Middle East, so that 400 years from now we can celebrate this genocide and with a holiday. Like, that's really what's going on. And if we're not really ready to say that, that doesn't necessarily mean that it isn't already evident to everybody who's watching. And this is what it is. I mean, let's face it. There are a lot of people who have been warped by propaganda as it pertains to we're not able to think for ourselves. So we're just aligning with what we've been taught to align with. But there are other people who just don't really care about anyone but themselves. And they're very fine with taking from you to get what they need. Who's who? I'm not sure. But some people have heard all the talking points. They made peace with being the bad guy if it means being able to live in a paradise that they have for themselves. They're going to kill. They're going to rape. They're going to stone. They're going to murder good, innocent people to assure and secure what they want. And what they want for themselves, which is land. And they really don't care what your opinion is about that. See them in the battlefield if you got a problem with it. That's literally what they're saying. Get down and lay down. And I can have a bleeding heart all day long, but if I'm surrounded by these type of people and they're telling a story about what's going on, and that's just really what it is, until somebody comes through and defeat them. And that's essentially what it is. That's essentially what it is. They don't want to come out and say that because there's consequences for saying that. It's not the safest thing in the world to say, yo, this is a get down or lay down, and then proceed to try to go on vacation overseas and think somebody ain't gonna try to do something to you, because they will. You're only safe where you stand, where you're surrounded by your own pure, trained, devoted to you people when you take that stance. You can only survive that way with devotion around you. You can't survive that position in a world that still has a heart for humanity. You can't survive that. And these people know that, so they're not running around saying the quiet part out loud like Israelis are doing in a lot of cases. They ain't quite that bold out here. They're just not. But what I can say is that's the position they're taking. And if you can read between the lines, that's what's going on. People are very fine with genocide, whether it was done to the Native Americans in the past or whether it's being done to the Gazans right now. And they don't think they're evil people. They don't believe that anything they do is evil. They think they're chosen for that or reserve the right to be that, or that God is with them for whatever reason. And however that goes, they're moved to continue supporting this position that they take. And nobody's here to really shame them properly for it, at least not up to this point. And nobody did to them that, so they don't necessarily have a heart for it. At the end of the day, man, what goes around comes around. So if you are subscribed to that in your personal life, then you have to know that lands and peoples too should respect that same cycle. What goes around really does come back around. And though it hasn't happened yet, don't mean it ain't gonna happen tomorrow. Which is one of many reasons, besides the decency in my heart, that I don't support what Israel's doing to the people of Palestine. At all. I don't support that. I don't align with that. I'm not confused as to think it works. It doesn't work. It just has worked up until this point. You can't see what's about to happen next. The story's still being told. There's still stuff going on. The world's still spinning. The sun's still rising and setting, etc. You don't know what's about to happen next. So while you're standing, dancing, enjoying yourself on Thanksgiving, on the literal mass graves of my ancestors, do understand that tomorrow brings something. Something. So you better enjoy today. You better be thankful for today. And I was paying attention to what's going on in I think it was in DC, if I'm not mistaken. Rest in peace to the individuals. I think it was 2 Federal Reserves. Not Federal Reserves. Servicemen of some sort. I got the word wrong, but they got 2 servicemen armed, I believe, were shot and killed in the streets out there. I guess it's being revealed to us that it was an individual from Afghanistan who I guess had been given the right to be here by the Trump administration 4 years ago. It's been said that this individual just decided to come over to Washington, D.C. from Washington State, all the way on the other side of the country, just to kill these 2 random service people. I don't know, man. It seems like a false flag to me. That don't really quite add up. When I was listening to somebody break down all the things that there is to see there, it just didn't quite logically make sense. I mean, I'll say like that dude said, who I was watching, I guess anything is possible. Yeah, sure, it could have happened, but did it really add up? Like, is that something you expect to ever literally see? Nah, probably not. Seemed like a setup. Who knows? But rest in peace to the people who lost their lives. At this point, you know, we just gotta look for all of the potential terrorist attacks that could be possible in these major cities. I would say everybody who owns a big arena or a amusement park, all the train stations all over the country, all over the world, the Western world, You just need to kind of heighten your security and look for the terrorist attack, because at the end of the day, we are ruled by people who use this tactic to push their agenda, and they will always be on board with doing this. We know it. And they're going to tell you it was Muslims who did it every time. They're going to tell you it was Iran who did it every time. And we know at this point, no one should be surprised. It is not Iran. It's never going to be Iran. Iran's not doing that. I say that with a whole lot of confidence. It ain't going to be Iran. It ain't going to be the Muslims. That's not what's there when you look in that direction. Only people who are not actually paying attention to what's going on in the Middle East are going to actually believe that. And they're hoping most of us are not. But at this point, I think it's a good portion of people who, if they're not paying attention, they're listening, or they've heard from someone who is paying attention. So I don't know why they're still running old plays as if they're in an old world. But hey, man, you know, I liken this to the people who have all the power of being the wrong people to control things in a video game. You got the best video, like let's say you're playing NBA 2K and you're using OKC. But you give the controller to your 3-year-old brother. Now, yeah, he's playing with a great team. But he ain't going to be winning. He ain't going to be making the right moves because he don't know what he's doing. That's kind of what it is right now. What's going on in the world. You got people with immense amounts of power using governments and infinite funds to do all types of whatever they choose, and the things that they choose don't even make any sense. The things that they choose aren't believable. That's what you're seeing right now at the end of this year. And that's exactly what's going on right now. And it's like giving a 3-year-old the controller and giving him the best team to use. And then proceed to see what he does with it. And he's throwing the ball off the backboard, running out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's happening right now. I don't know, man. This is one of the reasons why I'm going to go visit my friends on this Thanksgiving, because I have no idea what's next in this world. I really don't. You know, with all the corruption that's been prevalent all of my life, I've never thought that I would see so much incompetence by way of the corruption. Usually those who were corrupt were serious people. You barely knew anything was there. It wasn't a whole lot that you didn't necessarily believe unless you were willing to dig deep into some conspiracy theories, to which maybe you find something there. But the majority of people who are telling the truth were not being listened to. Majority of people who were saying that, you scoff at. And now, that's not the world we're in, and the people who are doing all of the controlling are extremely sloppy on top of that. Extremely sloppy. And from what I understand, it's been said that they were trying, they meaning in this particular case, it's been said that a combination of governments, French government, American government, and a few others, I guess, allegedly were trying to have Candace Owens assassinated. I guess they were going to use some French military personnel to try to snipe her or something. She came out and said that. Some people in our intelligence agency that she's friendly with gave her a heads up. Somebody in the put some money on her head, man. And of course, she's been, digging into various different things that would anger the powers that be. She's trying to expose that the federal government is corrupt in regards to the Charlie Kirk killing. She's exposing the secrets involving the president of France and his life partner and what her actual birth gender was alleged to have been. Yeah, you're going to have people want to knock you off. You're going to have people want to knock you off. It just is what it is. Whether you're telling the truth or a lie, there's going to be some people who ain't going to be happy with you. But I don't know if people who are going to invest in trying to kill a liar, you know what I mean? They're just going to expose a liar. They ain't necessarily going to try to put money on a liar's head. I will say that. As you guys know, I've been following her religiously for about 3 months now. Even before Charlie Kirk died, I started watching her show religiously. And so I ain't missed a single word of all that she's been talking for in regards to things. And I can tell you, I'm not surprised by any of this. Any of this. I would be more surprised if they didn't want her dead than that they would. But, you know, it's one of those situations where there's one variable that people have to understand. The powers that be are going to have to work this variable into their equation and really believe this. This is very important. They're going to have to get this. God actually exists. He really is real. No pun intended at all. He really is real. So a lot of what it is they trying to expose or keep from being exposed gonna get exposed anyway. A lot of what it is they want to do it's gonna fall flat anyway. He's rather tired of people, man. I'm telling you. I've meditated on a lot of things, gotten closer to God over the last 2 years, as you guys know. I don't wonder if he exists anymore, if he has my back or any of that. I've gotten enough confirmation from him in ways that I absolutely cannot deny, has proven to me beyond the shadow of any doubt that he not only exists, but is very much in tune with everything going on, including my very own self. It's been proven to me now. And so there are a lot of people who are running around because they don't believe God exists, but know that other people do, pretending to align with God with the intentions of doing whatever it is they want to do. But the variable that they're not working into their equation is that he does actually exist. That he is real. So if you playing God, what you need to have the case be is that there is no God to hold you accountable for it. You need that. If you're going to be evil and do awful things and then hide behind religion, what you need to be the case is that he does not exist. Because if he does, you're in the crosshairs of something you can't stop. And they have been convinced, however they have, that he doesn't exist, which is why they have no problem doing this. Their calculations are wrong. That's what I've come to know. That's the truth I can tell y'all directly from within my mouth to your ears. If y'all running around pretending or believing that God doesn't exist and thus pretending to be on his side, looking to do things you should not be doing, things that if he were in the flesh in front of you, you wouldn't dare do, you need to understand that he might as well be in the flesh in front of you, because that's how real he is, and that's how true his wrath is in your life as it continues to go forward. Remember, as I said already in this channel, in this video, the sun gonna rise and it's gonna set. There's more coming. A lot of people are dancing on the top of the mountain like there ain't no more story to tell, like they ain't happily ever after. There's more to go. Still got more stuff going on. There's more story to tell, more pages in the book. And that's what's wrong with a lot of people all over the world, man. They're pretending to be of God, but they don't actually believe in God. But they know other people do, so they're utilizing that to garner favor in the eyes of the public, garner credibility in the minds of people who believe in God. Using Christianity, using Judaism, using Islam. They use whatever they can because they don't believe in God. They just know you do. And because they don't believe he exists or are certain he doesn't exist, what they think is that the rest of us are naive. And so they can manipulate religion and the presence of the belief in God to accomplish whatever godless intentions they have. And we've been seeing this all of our lives. throughout the course of many, many moons, people doing this. And this era is no exception. It's a dangerous thing to be certain that God doesn't exist in a world with questions that you have no answer for. The arrogance of man is truly, truly gonna be his downfall. His ego and his unwillingness to bow to something greater than himself that he cannot touch or feel or see or taste, it's truly gonna be his undoing. And I would tell man, just as you move in the spirit of leverage, so too should you apply to the idea that God owes you proof of his own existence. You don't have the leverage to demand it. I don't believe in God because he ain't proved himself to me. Make him. He don't have to. For those of us he's done this with, he's chosen to. I'm sure he revealed himself to me for a reason. And that he hasn't revealed himself to you is also for a reason. But do not get that confused with him being docile and weak to whatever your intentions and will is. And while you dancing around on the top of the mountain, he's planning tomorrow. While you sitting up here trying to hold on to your little bit of power, which feels like an immense amount, he is figuring out what he wants to do with you. Giving you ample opportunity to turn away from what it is you're doing. There's still time left. That's what I want to tell all of us. There's still time left to get it right, man. There's still time left to say, you know what? Let me turn around, man. This ain't working. Nah, this is not. This is no longer the right move. Maybe he does exist. Maybe I shouldn't pretend like I love God and a clergy person while doing things that I know God would not be pleased with if he were to exist. Maybe he does. Maybe he does. Maybe you're a mortal body and are not going to be here much longer. Maybe it'll be in your best interest to respect that some things are beyond you. Very much beyond you and what it is you're trying to build. But the ego of man will lie to him every time, man. He'll lie to you every single time. Be humble in the presence of something greater than myself, because I don't know how much time I have, but whatever it is, it ain't very long. My body's already showing me it's breaking down. I don't have time to make the mistake that God doesn't exist and then proceed to do all the stuff I would do in a godless world. I don't have time to be wrong. I don't have time to be wrong. And I would suggest that everybody with a living body consider that variable before making your next decision. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. The Lord gave me a very vivid imagination. And so with that comes a healthy concern for his creativity and what his wrath could potentially mean if pointed at me eternally. And as I have a perception of life around me and the evils in the world, I have to heighten that understanding as to what could be coming for me for the rest of eternity if I were to anger him enough to have him point his wrath at me. I don't think everybody has quite that type of imagination to really understand just how terrifying eternity can be and how uncomfortable eternity can truly be. Toying around with that for which created all, while you pretending or have convinced yourself that he does not exist, and proceed to do all the things that would disrespect him for your own temporary benefit. I would encourage you to consider what it is I'm saying to you. Because a lot of y'all are moving like that. But I don't think you really grasp just how terrifying his creativity can be when pointed at you for an eternity. And he don't really ask for too much, man. He don't ask for too much. And that's the part that I've come to understand as well. The closer I get to God, the more I realize how lenient and forgiving and ultimately little he demands of myself. The world demands a heck of a lot more from me than the Lord does. And the closer I get to him, the more that becomes real. He don't demand half as much as the world do. I'll be asking God, have I done enough today? Yeah, you did more than enough today. Like, I ain't hardly do nothing today, yeah, but you turn to me. Lord, I didn't earn any money today. I didn't go out and do this, and this. I didn't ask you to do all that. I just asked you to turn to me and be obedient. Wake up every day, give me your best. At the end of the day, check in. That's about it. Open up your heart. Let me in. Give me the right to control your life, control your voice, control what you're doing. Give me your best effort. Call it a day. I didn't make you perfect. I didn't make you without flaw and without sin. I gave you a relationship with me, and we work together to try to work around everything that goes on. When it gets tough, turn to me. When you're happy, say a couple thank yous and move on. It ain't a lot he's asking of man. The world, man asks a lot of man. God does not ask a lot of man at all. Half of this stuff that we're forced to do, man put these parameters around us, trying to force us into sin, into stress, which pushes us towards sin. God don't have that many demands upon his people at all. He does not. There may be a chosen few, depending on their position, who will be asked to do more than others. Don't get what I'm saying wrong. He reserves the right to ask a lot of some or all if he chooses. But based on what it is he's shown me, since I've gotten to know God, I'm telling you, he don't ask that much of us. Not nearly as much as people think. Some things he asks us to do is for our betterment, to guard against the spiritual fight that we're in, the war that we're in. If it were not for that presence of that war, we wouldn't need to do as much as we are asked to do. It's only necessary that you do that because you got something coming at you looking to exploit the fact that you may be caught slipping. If not for the presence of this and this and this that you probably should do to protect against that slippage. Otherwise, without warfare, it ain't even that much to guard against, so that you would be forced to do certain things that maybe you are being asked to do. As far as I can tell, the Lord is regrettable to that reality. That warfare is not something that he wanted for us. Spiritual warfare was not what this life is supposed to be about. But that it's in place, you got to guard. It is what it is. Give him a second, he'll figure it out. But for the time being, just check in with him. It's literally all he's asked me to do. I'm telling y'all, it ain't much. It ain't a whole lot, man. Don't be a jerk to people. Don't just be so interested in protecting your own hide that you're slaughtering everybody else because you're sure it's protected. He ain't asking you to do that. That's a godless intention. That's a belief that God does not exist and that he does not have your back. People who don't believe in God do stuff like that. Not those who do. Those who do know they don't have to do any of that. I gotta take over the world. For what? To have all the power. For what? Because you're scared of what it looks like when somebody else has it. You got to be in control so that you are not vulnerable to someone else being in control. But if you understand the power that God has, you know better than to think that you are ever vulnerable to that degree. That you would have to take over everything to be safe. You're not going to be safe doing that. It's a miscalculation. And I'm telling you, man has been miscalculating things for a long time and then passing those miscalculations down to his kids and his grandkids and lineage on past. And what you have right now is a bunch of people who, because the message is old, they think the message is true. No, that also is a miscalculation. Old lies were told, friend. Old lies were told. Just because it's written in the book 7,000 years ago does not mean that it wasn't a bold-faced, bad intention, devil-like lie. That's what's wrong with a lot of people right now. They believe in the old word that's been passed down for many generations that was not true. That's what's going on right now. That's why people have their mental health wrapped up in whether or not they can destroy other people so that they can secure their land. Because they believe in an old lie. You're better than all of them, so you can take what they have. Man, that wasn't no God. God didn't write that. But it's been in our book. It's been in the book forever. No, man, that book wasn't written by nobody good. That book was written by an old devil. Somebody who did not care for man, who did not want to exalt you, who did not want to see you succeed. No, he didn't write that. God didn't write that. And it's been in the book for 7,000 years. It tells us to kill all the people and rape all the children. No, man. No. Those were devilish intentions, man. Old devils wrote old stories. And you pass them down for generations. You believe them. That's the problem. It's a miscalculation. The presence of it being an ancient miscalculation makes it so that you align with it. That is not in place for your betterment. It's an old lie told by an old devil who likely wanted to see everything destroyed. And trying to convince people that has been a very difficult thing in modern times. But we're trying. Those of us who are trying to point out what's going on here in this genocide situation, that's essentially what we're trying to do. We're trying to convince some people to stop believing old lies, ancient lies. Because what they are doing is putting forth the enemy's intentions, not that of a living God. A godless intention that takes from the world and is not looking to give, but is looking to settle in spaces that were already inhabited by individuals who have not angered God, people who do not deserve to be suffering the ills of the intentions of man. It's the presence of this being an old lie that makes people think that they have a right to hurt people off the strength of religion or skin color or region or whatever. Like, no. Old lie told by old devil. And once that becomes real in their head, then they can undo a lot of the damage that they're doing, or at least stop the bleeding on a lot of damage that they're doing. But as long as they still believe in these old devil's lies, they're going to be bringing about new problems for everybody, every damn body. And can't seem to make sense of why things aren't aligning the way that they have been told they should. Why don't they just let us commit the genocide? Of course it's wrong when them people do it, but when we do it, it's okay because we're better than everybody else. No, that's an old lie. Old lie. Ancient lie. You want to ask these people, when do you think man started lying? When do you think man started telling falsehoods to impose his intentions upon the earth? Do you think that's a new concept? So I'm going to ask all my Jewish brothers and sisters, do you think that's a new concept? You know it's not a new concept because you teach it to one another to impose your intentions upon the world. So you know it's not a new concept. You have effectively aligned with the art of lying, which in and of itself is a lie built on falsehoods itself. You will never nor were I ever meant to do the things that you're doing. But if you believe lies, practice lies as a strategy, then yes, you're going to do whatever the lie tells you to do. But there's one thing that fails you, is the alignment of it and reality. That's why it's a lie, because it doesn't line up with anything that is actually going on. And that people have told ancient lies and practiced the art of lying is indeed something that is going to fail them because of the essence of what lie is and its relationship to the reality around them. It's a lie. It ain't to be walked upon. It's not to be dying for. It's not to be shared with others and taking over the world or whatever the hell you're trying to do. It's a lie. It doesn't work. It's a falsehood. It's made up. It's a story. It doesn't harbor any glory. And this is what I want people to understand as they go forward. Believe in whatever you believe, man. If it betrays the understanding that a living God does exist, that his intention is not for some to take from all to align themselves with happiness at the expense of everyone else, that if you believe in stuff like that, I'm assuring you it's not going to add up with what it is that's coming next. That is a falsehood, an old lie told by an old devil who had bad intentions for the world in front of you. And I'm telling you, following his blueprint is going to lead you straight to the wrath of a living God. That is not a lie. And although many people do not believe, it doesn't make it any less true. Just like everybody believing a lie doesn't make the lie true. Bdf 44, thank y'all for watching. I'm out.